About 30 years ago, my friend John helped me paint this Imperial Guard army. Not long after that, he moved away with his family, but we've stayed in close touch ever since. When we spoke over the summer, John admitted that despite playing loads of tabletop, loads of LARP and board games, he's never actually played a war game with miniatures, terrain, dice and rules. Yeah. So he's here for a few days. I thought it would be the perfect time to give him his first war game in true 1995 style, using NetEpic Gold and Richard's new Ash Wastes terrain. So, how come you've never played a war game, especially with the circle of friends we have?
Yeah. Originally, I was just a little bit overwhelmed. I always see wargaming as a step up from RPGs, tabletop, Dungeons and Dragons, because there's, I presume, more strategy involved. And I was completely out of my depth when I painted these. I love painting figures, and it was, straightforward how to paint them, but how to use them, what they actually did on the field, well, that seemed a little bit beyond me at the time. I regret that.
Okay. So although you haven't played a war game before, you know a little bit about the 40k lore. What's your favourite army?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed painting the Imperial Guard, but you put me on the spot. I do quite like the Eldar.
These ones?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I would love to see what they could do in a real battle.
Okay, you've done loads of tabletop and LARP. So what are you most curious to see in a miniature war game?
Well, mostly with all the live action role play and the tabletopping, the dice games and Dungeons and Dragons, it's all very individually based. One of the reasons I was a little bit reluctant is because I wasn't sure if I could handle a mass army. And that's where I think the wargaming is going to be quite exciting to do, because
What you're saying is your LARP, your tabletop is you.
yes,
But even though you've been part of a regiment in a battle, in a live action role play battle, this is the difference.
yeah. When you're on the field with a group of people, you're very much part of the unit. The idea of directing that unit, seeing what effect it's having on the battlefield, and then making decisions and plans as to where they need to go. Do they need to move? What risk are they under? Are they going to have to hold that place? Are they need to attack and take that place? Yeah, that sounds really exciting.
Okay. So do you like the idea of fast surgical forces, things that have got precision but need a bit more finesse? Or do you like big armies that just grind out a victory?
Well, my comfort zone would be to sit back, defend, wait and see what happens and react. But I'm not in my comfort zone.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to strike hard and fast if I can. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
So do you recognise this box of miniatures here? There's chimeras, this is an Imperial Guard army, we've got a few other bits.
They're very much like the ones that I did for you about 30 years ago.
So you're actually right. This is the army box that you painted in 1995. Okay.
Oh, wow, yes. Oh, that's incredible.
Okay. So this is the army that will grind out a victory. The Eldar, which I don't think I painted before you moved away. I don't think
oh, wow.
I don't think you'd seen these before. This is your surgical army.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now, my brother Richard's agreed to play a game against you and let me try and games master and coach you through it.
Okay.
So which one are you going to choose?
Like I said, I did commit to going in hard and fast. It has to be the Eldar.
Even though you painted these, you're happy to smash them on the field, yeah?
I spent so long painting them, I might take a little bit of pleasure out of sorting them out, you know?
Okay, well, let's get to the War Games Club and let's start rolling some dice.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
So let's look at John's battle in a bit more detail now. Thinking about the narrative, Beyond the newly captured system on Venthar, the war spread to the asteroid fields of the Drekkarn system. Here, Chaos forces had begun refining ore into the lifeblood of their growing armies. For Fulgrim's followers, Drekkarn was meant to be a quiet outpost, a hidden forge feeding the war machine on Venthar Prime. But the Eldar of Elatok had other plans. For them, this was not just a chance to cripple Chaos supply lines, but to reclaim the resources needed to rebuild their fleet. This battle takes place on an asteroid in the Drekkarn system. Chaos forces have begun refining raw materials here to fuel the growing armies on Venthar Prime. The Eldar seek to stop them, not by destroying the refinery, but by capturing it. They hope to use its resources to replace the cruiser they lost. Caught off guard, Chaos has responded with the only troops nearby, a cult of miners newly turned to their cause. Unlike previous battles where the space fleet action was fought first, this time the planetary battle comes first, with the fleet action to follow. We played this game using the NetEpic Gold rules, with both sides fielding around 3,500 points. The Chaos Force was represented by our old Imperial Guard army, while the Eldar came from Craft World Elatok. 8 objectives were in play, plus victory points for breaking enemy units as usual. The battlefield was set on our recently painted Citadel Realm of Battle Ash Wastes, with a huge central building acting as the refinery. And because of its size, this building held 2 objectives under these rules, at 25 centimeters apart. We agreed that if the refinery was destroyed, the opposing player would claim those 10 victory points, meaning you had to capture it. I helped John prepare the Eldar list. Now, with so little cover apart from the refinery and a central hill, we leaned heavily on armour and a Windrider host, with minimal infantry. The traitors chose a Warhound Titan and a company of Shadow Swords as their heavy units, while deploying their infantry entirely in vehicles to counter the open terrain. Both sides brought aircraft, armour and artillery, but the Eldar also included key special infantry detachments, Exarchs and Elatok Scouts, which would prove decisive. Deployment put both sides facing off across the refinery on the length of the board. Critically, the traitors left their artillery on the right flank exposed without a protective screen of armour or infantry. The Eldar won the initiative, and by the end of the first movement phase, they held 5 of the 8 objectives. Eldar aircraft quickly made their presence felt, with Phoenix bombers eliminating almost an entire mechanized infantry company racing for the refinery with their deadly plasma bombs. Meanwhile, a single detachment of swooping hawks managed to tie up pretty much most of the traitor left flank. Turn 1 ended with the Eldar holding strong. Some unfortunate dice rolling for the traitors and very fortunate rolls for the Eldar meant far fewer losses than expected. Victory points stood at 38 for the Eldar and 12 for the traitors, but momentum clearly favoured the Eldar. Turn 2 was decisive. The Windrider host overran the exposed traitor artillery in close combat, while the Elatok scout detachment shot down the last Chaos Thunderbolt before it could intercept the remaining Phoenix bomber. From that point, the battle was effectively over. 50 victory points to the Eldar, 13 to the traitors. The result highlighted how powerful Eldar can be, and whether their points should be adjusted or opponents just need to build and deploy more carefully is something we'll need to consider for future games. In the end, this corner of the Drekkarn system fell under Eldar and Imperial control. And so the space fleet action that's going to follow this planet-side engagement will represent Imperial and Eldar ships playing cat and mouse with traitor forces, seeking to consolidate their hold over the system. Now we're going to head back to the studio and see what John thinks of the whole outcome. Okay, so you won. I know you had a bit of help from me, but you won. But what surprised you the most about sort of the way it played out?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. That was amazing. What was unexpected, what I didn't expect, was the sheer level of intensity. I mean, we laid it all out. We took it. We put all out. We strategically placed all our forces. Yeah, and I think I might dip. And then when it started, it was like boom, 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 and you had to react instantly. I thought this was supposed to be slow and methodical, and no, that was intense. Totally intense.
Fair enough. Okay. So how was commanding that whole army so different from a tabletop? Because Dungeons and Dragons is intense. LARP is intense.
Yes, but you don't have to control 16 characters all at once, all going in different directions, all doing different things. The hardest thing was trying to remember which forces were set up to do which particular strategy, and whether your opponent had figured that out, was countering it or doing something different, and you could exploit it. It's a bit like chess in many ways, but yeah, but with a lot more action and intensity. But yeah, it was really hard having to figure out where all the troops was. And there were some really special moments where I suddenly saw an opportunity, and it was like, I have exactly the right force of troops to do this.
Give me an example.
When my scouts took one of the objectives,
Yeah.
and we went round the back of some of the Imperial Guards that were coming past. I don't think Richard fully appreciated the range of the scouts because they were elites.
Yeah.
And subsequently, I managed to take that objective and hold it for longer.
And then the scouts shot that thunderbolt down, and that's the bit he wasn't expecting, and that stopped him from attacking one of your flyers or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, he was heading to my squadron, which are fairly weak. They're good against ground troops. But what I found was that he didn't realise that my scouts could. I think he'd forgotten, and let's be honest, he knows the rules far better than I do. But as he was like, I was like, oh, can my scouts take that thunderbolt as they fly over? It's like, yes, actually, John.
They were on the first fire.
And you could almost see his face go, oh, drat. Yeah. No, wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Okay. If you played again, would you choose the same army, this army, or would you want to try something completely different?
Yeah, well, it's not an if. It's okay. Thanks. I can blame you for that.
Yeah.
I was totally out of my comfort zone going in hard and fast. And that's two things. One, I do like a more methodical, strategic approach. And secondly, I don't really know the rules as well as, I mean, I've been thrown in. This was a baptism of fire. The Eldar were stunning, absolutely stunning. But now I want to see what my boys can do. Because I know I won, but there were elements of luck that I wasn't appreciating because I did commit incorrectly way too early. But I'll be honest with you, Richard was very, very gracious because his dice rolling was appalling. And mine was miraculously good. And, you know, I had the luck.
Like when you rolled 9 6s in a row.
Yeah, let's not tell anyone about it.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I was incredibly lucky with the dice. I think if he'd been lucky as I was with the dice, we'd have had a different outcome.
Fair enough.
But yes, I'd like to try these guys. I really would. The Imperial Guard sound like fun because again, they're like they're tanks. And I don't just mean they're tanks. They're infantry. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well, John, thank you very much for sharing this first ever Wargame experience with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
It's been great to see the hobby through fresh eyes. And if you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed playing it, please don't forget to like, subscribe. It helps grow the channel and it helps me keep these games coming. And with that, we'll see you on the battlefield.